Hello everyone, Something2, welcome to another mod overview, this time on Biomechanics, a fabric mod that is tech but also body focused. So yeah, I only understand a fair amount of it, so I'm just going to go off what I can after doing a few takes as well as reading through the guide. But yeah, pretty much if we just go off of here, you can easily get this manual by just attacking a mob, and you'll obviously have the book drop as well as obviously their meat. And once you open the book, you can pretty much find out anything you need to know about the mod. To a degree, of course. Some aspects aren't covered, like the decay synthesizer and things, I think. Oh, stabilizer, sorry. So yeah, so you've got a bunch of machines, and you've got a bunch of things obviously here that I've set up just for the sake of experimenting. So yeah, the whole goal of the mod pretty much when it comes to say the sending of power sort of thing and cables and machines is basically to make it mimic a body. So pretty much your blood vessels would be your cables, you've got the blood which would be your power units, and there's also a oxygen and other sort of focus. So yeah, it's mimicking the circulatory system pretty much. So I'll just go through each thing as much as possible as far as I understand it, because there's still a few things I'm really not clear on. So yeah, so you've got the blood vessel, which is your cable of course, which you'll need blood and fish or meat of some kind, which you can get blood from the squeezer, which if you want to, obviously, which you'll probably want to use early game, is made with iron, pistons, glass, and a furnace. And pretty much what you want to do is just put any meat in here, put some coal in, get some bottles, and then store the blood. I have tried looking for a bucket, and there isn't one. So you're just going to have to go with bottles to store this stuff, at least early on, before you can maybe make, obviously, the blood vessels, and sort of work out the system in terms of how you send the blood. You've got the heart case, which pretty much works as a way to pump blood to other biological components. The maximum saturation of this blood is determined directly by the health of the heart. And the way you'll notice the health of many of these is determined on pretty much, I guess, how much health the mob has, either as in total or in general at that time. So if we just spawn in a pig, for example, we will need a scalpel, which you can make with iron like so, which is pretty much a tool used to harvest the organs from mobs. So it allows you to extract organs, holding the offhand or attack in the main hand to get organs. So we have to harm this pig to get their organs once they get back, and you can see we got the meat as well as some organs. So the health is going to diminish over time, and if you still keep these in your inventory, the health will be lost, and they'll also turn to rotten flesh, as you can see there now. So once you've harvested a mob, you're going to very much quickly want to put them into certain machines, but definitely best to still keep the meat, obviously, for putting it in here to then obviously get some blood and put it into other machines, of course. So there's that. Otherwise, the heart case is pretty much just for putting the blood bottles in, or I assume you can use blood vessels to then obviously send the blood to them, to the machine. And you can obviously put a heart in here and it'll beat and then send certain aspects throughout the system. There is a decay stabilizer, which prevents any organs, as far as I can tell, from using up all their health, which I'll just put in here for the sake of some of these machines, as I don't want to have to keep putting stuff in. So those lungs are still going pretty good. So yeah, definitely recommend one of these, but you can't make it, I assume, yet, or there's just no recipe that I'm aware of, and I can't find a guide entry, so there's no thing displaying there. So just from trial and error of working out what could go where in slots, I've just been placing them like so. So I'll actually use the organs now properly. So we can see the heart beating, and it'll beat normally. And we'll just put these other aspects in here because I don't want to waste them. And pretty much this will just send blood or oxygen and other things throughout the system. Since I've got nowhere to really send it, it's not doing much, so yeah. We've got the oxygen pump, which allows you to pretty much send oxygen, I assume, through, compared to the heart, which sends blood or other bits and pieces, I assume, through the network. So that's made with iron, blood vessels, and piston, compared to the heart casing with redstone, blood vessels, and iron. So there's that, and this will obviously just be where you put your lungs and your decay stabilizer to keep those going throughout the network. You've got the stomach, which you'll need small intestines as well as a stomach for. So what the small intestines does is pretty much... hang on. No, sorry. We'll go to the digester, sorry. Which is what we really want. So this is required to allow the small intestine stomach to digest food. So it runs as long as it gets oxygen, which you'll be getting from obviously the oxygen pump. And you can put your components there, and I assume maybe some meat or certain other things. I have tried to put blood in here, and I can't get that to work, so I don't know how you do that, besides blood vessels, of course, in the network. So I'm going to try shift-clicking, clicking, does nothing, putting in here, doesn't do anything either. And I haven't gotten any meat to work in here, so we'll go with something like a vegetable, and see what else we can get through here. Yeah, I haven't really found a way around this to get it working, so I don't really know how this works. I just know what fits in the slots from experimenting. We've got the boiler, which is pretty much your furnace, and that's pretty much it as far as I know. You just need oxygen and calories to get this working, along with the following components. You've got the macerator, which is pretty much your ore doubler of sorts, which again probably needs the same requirements as the boiler. This one has no GUI, so this one has a GUI, and I assume the arrows are for increasing the speed at which it can do things. So maybe you can have it where it obviously pumps a lot faster, or you can have it where it's a lot more, it takes a lot longer, but it's not going to maybe use up as much blood or oxygen or ruin your organs that you're using. So yeah, haven't really tested this yet, because I'm not sure if my systems really work, or where to put it, but yeah. You've got a fleshy hopper, which pretty much can send items and blocks, but it can also allow blood to travel through it. So if you don't have, or don't want to use blood vessels in certain cases, but you want to obviously send items to them, as well as blood in your network, then you can obviously send stuff through that for your machines, compared to a typical hopper. I don't know if I'm using them correctly, but I just thought I'd just put them there for that experiment. You've got the photosynthesis block, photosynthesizer, which is an alternative to the digester and creates calories from the sun instead of food. So it's pretty much your solar panel of sorts to, I assume, add more to the network. So I don't actually need to put that there. I need to instead get a vessel and then maybe send this stuff elsewhere. So a biosolar panel of sorts I should have been using more correctly. And you have finally the fat storage, which is pretty much your battery for, I think, maybe blood, but it definitely does say for calories and other things. So yeah, so if you want a battery for your power, but obviously a biological version of that. And yeah, so the reason why I've got this small one here is that this one is pretty much the guide that it gives you in the book, whilst this one's just more my experimentation of what I would do if I had multiple machines in the network and I wanted to see what I could and couldn't get working. So yeah, so I just go back out, let's see where I can find it. Circulatory system, here we go. So at the end you'll see a example network. So this is obviously following that guide. We can visualize it and we can place it in the world. I can get rid of that, and you can see that I've tried to match it as much as possible. So I don't know if you actually need the machines to be exactly next to each other, but with mine I've put the blood vessels in between just in case, similar to obviously putting hoppers and other things to then send things throughout the network, and because it's a bigger network and trying to fit other machines in, I thought I'd need it. But yeah, so pretty much what you'll want is blood vessels to then be at the bottom and top, because that's how it's going to send things through. It's not just going to work where you say put cables behind it or beneath it or something and call it a day. You have to actually put it in a proper certain way from bottom to top to then send it around in a circle, since it's a circulatory system. So you've got your digester here for obviously putting in your food, as well as your stomach and small intestine. You've got your oxygen pump with your lungs, and you've got your heart, and then you'd be sending stuff around over and over and over again to send the blood, send the oxygen, so on. And I don't know where the macerator and the boiler fit in, but the fat storage and the photosynthesizer, I assume you can fit in pretty easily for storing things and getting calories from the sky, I guess, from the sun. So yeah, but that's pretty much it as far as I can tell. Again, I've got no idea how to do any of this stuff and coordinate it in a proper network, but that's pretty much just as much as I know of what I understand of what each machine does, just not how to put them together in the correct way to properly utilize the mod's potential. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as I can get from the book and what's presented in the GUIs and otherwise. So yeah, I definitely recommend asking the creator as much as possible, because yeah, they'll probably have a better idea and more answers that they can give than I can. Thanks so much for watching though, and goodbye.